Hola, and welcome to That Eurovision Sites YouTube channel. My name is Janek, and I'll be your host for today. I use any pronouns. I am joined here by Isabelle, they use they, them pronouns, and Euan uses he, him pronouns. Today, we will be discussing the national selection for Spain, Benidorm Fest, which is the second edition of that national selection. Benidorm Fest will be held in Benidorm, of course. It will be organized and broadcasted by RTVE. The show will have there will be 3 shows on the 31st of January, on the 2nd of February, and the 4th of February will be the grand final. Every semi-final has 9 songs. From each semi-final, we will see 4 advancing to the final with 8 finalists in grand final. The voting consists of 50% of the jury votes. I don't remember the exact number of the juries this year because we had a change. I think it went from 3 to like 5 or 6. I don't remember exactly. I'm sorry for that. 25% is the demographic jury, which means that RTV calls random people and asks them what do you think about these songs. And televote consists of 25% of the overall score, which is a rather controversial topic, but we are not here about that. We are talking about the songs that are taking part in the same national final. The show will be hosted mainly by Monica Naranjo, but she will be joined by Ines Hernand and Rodrigo Vasquez. If I remember correctly, both of them hosted last year also. And I think Monica also hosted last year, but my memory is maybe playing on me. The songs that will be taking part in Benidorm, starting with the songs that will take part in semi-final number 1. Starting with Ahoney, with Quiero Arder, going to Alice Wonder with Yo Quisiera, Aris Aren with Flamenco, Fuda Nocta with My Familia, Mehara with Arcadia, Meller, No Nos Moverai, Sharon with Aire, Sofia Martin and with Tuki, and the last song is by Twin Melody with Sayonara. And the semi-final 2 consists of Alfred Garcia with Desde que tú estás, Blanca Paloma Ea Ea, FM with Uf, Famous with La Lola, Jose Otero with Inviernos en Marte, Carmento with Quiero y Duelo, Lucky Reaper with Tracción, Ciderland with Cascatitot, and Vixo with Nochentera. If I mispronounce anything here, I'm sorry, I'm not a Spanish speaker. So our first topic of discussion is what are your overall opinion of the lineup we are having this year, and what are some of the songs that you like from lineup? Start with Isabel.
So straight off the bat, Blanca Paloma's Ea Ea is my runaway favorite by a country mile. I loved Secreto de Agua last year, her entry at Benidorm Fest last year. It wasn't, my favorite, but I really loved it. I thought it was powerful and special. I love this even more. Like, this is right up my street. It's basically everything I want from Spain. It's, flamenco I love anyway, but flamenco with an electronica, like a really thick, kind of dark synth, dark electronica, kind of underbelly, just as though it were made for me. I think it has just everything. It's exactly what I was hoping for, basically. It was what I was hoping to see this year. There's a lyric in it which is Mi niño, cuando me muera, que me entierran en la luna y todas las noches te vea. When I die, may they bury me in the moon, so I might see you every night. I'm so sorry. There's a word which I'm not really qualified to talk on because I'm not Spanish and I'm not from Andalusia, but the concept of duende is very important to flamenco. It's like the kind of it's the spirit of it, it's the thing at the heart of it, which is kind of passionate and also dark, and it's the fire like at the heart of art. It's the thing that makes art magic. It's the thing that makes flamenco, whether it's the dance or the music, like burning and kind of really sort of scintillating. And yeah, that lyric, duendo, 1,000%. The entire sound of it really has duenda. That's the thing that it really has. Anyway, that's my fave. But I'm actually really like delighted by the variety in the lineup. I love I think Euan's gonna give me shit for this, but I love Agonés Quiero Arder. It's like by far and away the best club track in this lineup. Like of all of there's a lot of danceable stuff here. Like there's a ton of reggaeton, which is really fun to see and not a surprise after Chanel did so well at Eurovision. But actually my favorite like upbeat danceable track is Quiero Arder. It's sweaty, it's sleazy, it's sexy, and just that refrain, arde, the beat drop and then arde, burn. It's so fun, it's so good. I love it. And it feels really campy, it feels draggy even. If he can deliver the vocal though live, that's going to be really something, I think. Carmentos Quiero y Duelo is, I think, well, I hope it doesn't fly under the radar because it's a much softer, much quieter moment. It's basically just a beautiful, soft flamenco ballad, but it's flamenco, and it's in a way like more traditional. It feels more traditional flamenco than any of the other sort of flamenco adjacent things here. But it also has kind of a nostalgic, almost like 90s ballad feel about it. But just the flamenco in it is beautiful. Her voice is beautiful. I really, really love that. And I hope it does get recognized. Siderlands Tot, I know that that's going to be talked about because I know that's a big fave for you lot as well. I really like it. I like that it's uplifting, but it's not so safe that it's boring. Like it feels like you've heard it before, you know? Like it feels radio ready, but it's not it doesn't feel stale as things that, you know, can sound a bit more commercial can feel stale. It's got the energy to me of another pre-apocalyptic kind of party song, La Representante de Listas Ciao Ciao. Like we're talking about the end of the world, we're a bit horny at the end of the world, it's uplifting at the end of the world, you know, it's got that kind of thematic thing going on, which I think is fun. And yeah, if they can bring that apocalyptic party energy, then I think that actually that could stand out. For me, the Catalan is a huge selling point. I would be delighted to see a minority language from Spain at Eurovision finally. It would be a first, and that would be in some ways the Spanglish, the particular the Cuban Spanglish of SloMo. You could argue for it being a minority language moment, but I know that that's maybe a controversial take. That I see it that way a little bit, but you know, maybe that's a little bit pushing it. And then finally, it's not 100% up my street, but Arcadia, I just love seeing. I love seeing a catchy synth rock entry in general, but from Spain particularly, it's just a bit refreshing from them. This isn't like I said, 100% my cup of tea. I feel like I kind of when I hear synth rock, I kind of often want it to go harder than it does. Both into the synth and the rock, like, but it's got again a bit of a nostalgic vibe for me. It's if against all odds this won and they sent it to Eurovision, it would be, I would prefer it to a lot of the rock that we've seen at Eurovision, which for me is always just so weak and so kind of commercial and watered down, and that's just not my thing. This is actually, I think it's got a little bit of edge, and it's very catchy, which is just fun.
So for me, I'll start with the more negatives. Well, actually, one thing, there's only two songs in this entire national final, which I don't like, which in a field of 80, 18, 60, whatever, I can't remember the number. That's phenomenal. I didn't see actually see what Janek flashed up, so sorry. I do feel it's a bit of a downgrade compared to last year, but I think it's not really fair to say it's bad because last year was phenomenal. It had some of the most greatest pieces of Eurovision adjacent music ever. So I feel disappointed, but I feel it's unjustifiable. I have felt like that. It's still just an amazing national final. There are some songs which, although they're fun to listen to, I do feel they've got a great polish and really could easily fit into Eurovision. They're radio friendly, but not too radio friendly. I do feel a little bit bored by the end of listening to some of them. Again, this is just I've only heard the studio versions, so as we saw with last year, no one gave a damn about what the hell Chanel was singing until that live performance. So I fully expect every single song on the list, even the ones that I love and think are amazing now, to just be elevated. So this is just talking about the studio versions. I do think there is just a little bit too much of the basic girly pop in there, but moving on. Discuss my favorites. So to shock people, Quiero Arder, Agony, phenomenal banger. It's one of those ones which I do think it is sort of lacking something, but I think that needs his stage presence. He's got that real pizzazz, for the lack of a better word. So I think he can really elevate it, particularly at the drop. I think after that point, it just sort of, for me, it gets a bit dull. But I feel that's something that needs this song is made for a stage performance. So I think we need to see that first. Ea by Blanca Paloma. Pure art. Her vocals, majestic. I love her. Negadas Arcadia. I just love that sort of like cyberpunk adjacent music. They have like this, listen to some other stuff, they have like this really nice sound, and we've not really heard anything like that in Eurovision. And I'm always thinking, well, always saying, even if it's weird and it's not necessarily the best thing ever, a new sound is still better than something that's polished and stale. And so I would be very happy with Arcadia by Megara going to Eurovision. One which I don't really have much to say because I don't really know why I like it because it's quite basic when I really think about it, but it's Nosos Moverán by Meler. It's just a good song. Second last one, it's Alice Wonderland, Yo Quisiera. I know it's not like it, but it makes me feel the same way I felt when I first heard Ay Mama. It's just pure art. There's emotion. There's it's ineffable to really describe it. And like if a musician can create that feeling, it's something that I think is deserving of being on the European stage. Right? And to the surprise of no one that's known me for the last 3-4 weeks, my favorite is Ciderland's Que Esclavitud. I'm slapped by the Catalan language. It's a travesty that we've not had Catalan in Eurovision before. They are an amazing group. Their back catalogue is amazing, but I think they've just topped themselves completely with Que Esclavitud. There's, I think, echoing what Isabelle said, like it does feel like familiar, but in a way, it also feels like quite comforting. Like it feels like you've heard it before, but you've heard it before in such a good way. It's like you're hearing a song you've not listened to in a few years, but you absolutely love it, and you're just like rediscovering that love. At least that's for me. Just the lyrics, the topic about like what's the sorry, let me just get the lyric up. Yeah. Perché ora de liutar si tu me estimas? Sorry, I don't speak Catalan, so I know it's terrible. Like, why should I fight if you don't love me? Like, there's just so many pure, amazing lyrics in the song. And if this were selected, this Spain would have sent the best Eurovision song, their best Eurovision song ever, and probably the best Eurovision song in the last like 5 years. It is phenomenal, and I love it. And I'm going to be so annoying when it doesn't win.
So. You say that winning, but they have to go for the harder semi of the two. So we'll see about that. So that's comment about what Isabelle and Euan said. I think Isabelle, you mistook Euan and I, because I was the one that was like about Ahone, Kira Arder, because I was
I
like,
remembered, I swear to God, when this all dropped, I swear Euan said on the Discord, something about it being the most boring generic shit that
hey,
he'd ever heard.
No,
that
because
wasn't me.
I didn't hear it until a couple of days ago, so that wasn't me.
That
I've been
wasn't
so
me
excited because
either.
I've loved Agony since Opera 2018, Janek?
17, I think.
I
Oh,
swear somebody, and I so thought it was you, Euan, and I apologise for slandering you.
I just love that you assume that like the really negative opinion comes
Well,
from
of
me.
course.
Of
No, but
course.
like somebody said this. Can we all at least agree that? Oh, I bet it was Rory.
I was thinking
That
the
just
same
seems-
thing.
It was
seems like
Rory.
Rory.
It was Rory. It was Rory. Let's slander Rory.
We
Then
are
instead,
saying
yeah,
hi
I
to
swear,
Rory.
Rory was like, "Well, can we all agree? Let's all agree at least that Kira Arder is the most boring generic shit I've ever heard, that we've all ever heard." And I was like,
Are you sure?
I'm just going to not
Yeah.
say anything for the moment.
Yeah. So
I'm so sorry, Euan.
So I have history of being like I liked Agane because I liked him in Opera Truth, but after Opera Truth, he made some weird choices for some of these performances. I like to crown him and make fun of him because of them. But I think like Gerarda is a solid song. A lot of people compare it to I Am, but I think it's like the better version of Annoying Gay Banger. And the phases of annoying gay, but that's and I can confirm Isabel that Aone is an amazing live vocalist, so you can say that
I'm gonna
he
lose
will
my shit. That it's
he
literally
will
like
he
every
will
drag
hit every
queen's
single
dream
note.
to have like to have a club hit that sounds like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's nothing cringy about it to me. It's
Yeah.
just good.
Yeah, and you know that he will hit every single note, and I can bet he will. Some of them he will go even higher because he can. He just has the voice to do it. Some of my favorites were already mentioned, like Megara was. I was excited about them when I heard they were taking part. Blanca Paloma are just out there of one of the best songs in the selection. I'm surprised no one mentioned them. Mentioned her, but I really like Fusa Nocta with Mi Familia, another flamenco song. I'm really surprised because she's the one that before the
Euan and
contest,
I are like, nah,
because
nah,
I
mate,
thought
you're all
Mi
right.
Familia will be up Isabel's alley, but like
I can't stand it. I think it makes absolutely no sense. I know it's a big favorite of Rory's. I feel like we've slandered. I
it's
slandered
a big
one of
favorite
Rory's
of
choices,
everyone
let's slander
because
another
God,
one.
Rory has got some terrible taste.
Mi Familia is amazing, and I won't stand for this slander.
Listen. Like Rory thinks nothing of Chiara Ardella, which is one of my favorites. I think nothing of his. It's his runaway favorite.
Yeah.
I think it's going. I mean, we'll talk about this in a bit, right? But like, I think it's going to. It resonates with some people very strongly. I can't stand the studio cut because I just fucking hate it when people put children on records. It
Oh
just
my God, I actually had to
so
stop
much.
listening to it. It was so.
I
Oh
can't
my-
listen. I can't listen to it. When people put children on records, it freaks me the fuck out. I can't handle it. Very, very rare exceptions. Kate Bush has done it before and it's been really beautiful. Literally only Kate Bush can do it, okay? Nobody else. Don't even try.
So, can we move on?
Sorry,
Move on,
Janek, please
yeah.
Sorry, we'll stop insulting all your faves, unless the next one's terrible.
Do you think Switzerland is terrible, even? Because Switzerland is one of my favorites as well. I have a soft spot for La La La. I don't know why, but I like La La. I like almost all of the songs. Like there's like few that I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Them like I'm bored. Like I said, there is a huge reggae influence this year, but some of these songs are like the reggae influence went in a bad way, and I don't want to point which ones, but like okay. But my absolute favorite of the national final is because I am trying to sleep, and this song is in my head, and I can't stop making it in my head. But my favorite is Noche Entera by Vixo. this is one of the pop girlies of the selection, but this song is so catchy and so earwormy, and you can't get rid of it. And she has a lot of views on that music video. So I'm hoping maybe she's one of the contenders to win, because I would love a song like that. It's not like Chanel, like last year, pop girly banger. It's like a club beat that you could like dance to, and I love it. And the lyrics are the most nonsense lyrics you could hear. Like, I'm just gonna read. I put out the lyrics especially because there's some parts to her, like one of them is this one part, and I dress fine just in case this night something happens between you and me. Drop some Dolce so it smells better. Like the most nonsense
Trash.
lyrics you could hear, and it's just
But like good nonsense. This
yes,
is the
good nonsense.
This is
And
like
other
the
part,
delightful
like
nonsense.
you're a strawberry mouth, my meat mojito, the little things, and are finding each other to be some fruit if they want to enjoy each other. I invite you to my party and place at one. It's like just nonsense as they speak. And the song that Non Chintera is a play of words. No, it's not like a real, it's like it's 80s night in Spanish, like noche entera or something like that. I don't know.
Ochentera is the 80s, and then
Ochentera,
noche is night. So
noche,
noche entera, and
noche
noche
entera.
entera is the whole night.
Yeah.
So noche ochentera
Noche
is a
ochentera.
night, an 80s night. So it's like a
Yeah.
lot of different. On the one hand, the
It's-
lyrics are nonsense. On the other hand, there's this like multi-layered wordplay
Yeah.
just in the title.
Yeah, there are two songs in this national finals season so far. That's like an era I cannot get rid of it in my head. What I'm trying to say is Non Chitera and Belgium's Sherin. Like these two songs are like just it's so catchy, and you can get rid of it. And I'm so passionate about Non Chitera. I don't know why, because I had like well, my fellow listener had like 6, 5, 7, and I think I blame Twitter because everyone was like singing the lyrics and posting the videos. Like, I love this and so much more. Okay, put one spot higher, and it became my winner. Like, I'm really hoping she can do an amazing performance live. That's what I'm scared of, but
It needs the Loco Loco energy, doesn't it?
It
Because
needs the
it's
Loco
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 Loco level
energy.
of like nonsense.
Yeah.
It's giving,
Yeah.
I'm sweet like Chocomoco. It's giving that.
Yeah. The lyrics, we do it like in Vegas. Whatever happens here stays here. The police at the door. Nobody's going to stop us. Just art. Art. And I am the person who loves lyrics that have sense. Like, I am the ballad person who is enjoying the heartwarming lyrics. I'm like,
But
this-
you also described Loco Loco as Shakespeare, which I
Yeah.
agree with. So
I'm sorry,
Loco Loco
what?
is Shakespeare.
you contain multitudes.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on. Because we will be banging about Shakespeare in Eurovision for hours. So last year, of course, Channel first place, big shoes to fill. She won the ESC 250. So of course, Spain wants to recreate the success this year. So do you think there's a song that could recreate or even get a better results than the Channel, like even winning Eurovision?
Yeah. I've been gunning for two things from Spain at ESC for years. A Latin club banger, which we got last year. Okay, like I wanted them to bring a Latin banger and to just school the rest of ESC in how it's done, like nonsense, but like good nonsense. That's exactly what we got. And look, it came second. No, wait, it came second in my heart. It came third. And then the other thing is flamenco. So we've had the glorious Spanglish Latin pop banger. I hope that we see more of that again in the future. But the other thing I've been gunning for from Spain is flamenco, and AI is just, not only is it flamenco, but it's also electronica. Like I said earlier, it's to Spain what Shum was to Ukraine. I think it has that potential. And saying that, I felt that way about Fulen, right? I felt like Fulen was to France what Shum was to Ukraine. but the thing that makes me think that AI could not only do very well but win the whole thing is that flamenco is expected from Spain, and yet we haven't had it in a long time. So I think that I'd be surprised if people heard flamenco from Spain and didn't eat it up, you know? And I mean, to me, nothing else stands a chance of doing particularly well at ESC, not because I don't think anything else deserves to do well at ESC, but just because of, again, like what people's expectations are of Spain and Spain's track record, which is really poor in recent years, bar last year. So like I said earlier, it's great to see so much reggaeton influence. I love that. I love to see it, because I just think, you know, honestly, like, embracing reggaeton is something Spain should have done a long time ago. Seeing as it's such a catchy music style, it's such a popular music style, and so it's really fun to see so much in the lineup. And listen, like, actually some of the stuff in the lineup that we haven't even mentioned, like, some of it is trash, like, lyrically, but then the reggaeton beat is incredible. Some of it's like the reggaeton beat's a bit watered down, but then the lyrics are fine. There's a lot of stuff that's like, but all of it I'd be happy to dance to at a party. So I'm happy to see it, but I would be surprised if they selected a reggaeton or a reggaeton adjacent track this year again, like twice in a row. I just don't see it. I think it was kind of an amazing moment that they did it last year. Just don't see them doing that again this year. Yeah, to me, if anything's going to win Eurovision, and so far actually out of all the songs that we've seen in the national selections, Ea is the only one that I've like heard and thought this is going to win Eurovision. This could win Eurovision. Nothing else I've heard in any of the selections so far has had that impact for me.
I think what I'm about to say might be a bit controversial, and I'm building to a point. Yeah, the answer space already. I think Spain is one of the best countries at staging in the last decade, 2017 excluding, because that was absolute trash. And I think so many of these songs, the studio versions, are made for a moment on stage. Even the bad, like the not necessarily bad, like not the best ones. Like, for instance, Arita Ren's Flamenco. It's a bit dull, and then you get to the point, but there's a point in that where I believe that a perfect staging could just elevate it. I mean, I don't want it to be the one that goes, but so I feel without seeing the live performances, we're not going to know what it is, because no one predicted Chanel would have that moment. Like, literally no one. It was I'm a Ma and Terra. Those were the songs. Those were the options. Then that moment happened. So I feel like, although there's one song that I'm going to say I think could do the win, there's a lot of others that I see potentially just come out of nowhere and do that moment. But the one I think it's Alice Wonderland's Yo Quisiera. It's just pure art. It's the only song I listen to like F word. I won't swear on the YouTube videos. But like, it's just like that moment, just that pure art, and I feel
already
it's something.
swore in this video, so you go ahead.
Sorry.
I already swore.
Oh,
but
fuck
Euan
me,
doesn't
it's
want
got
to
this
swear on the
amazing
YouTube
fucking
videos,
moment.
Janek.
Like,
let's not peer pressure Euan into swearing on the YouTube videos if he doesn't want to.
it's
Fine,
fine.
Euan. We support
But
you.
yeah, fuck me, that amazing moment. Like, it's something I feel that could captivate a televote and a jury vote and get there. I may not necessarily say it as a winner, but I feel like this is something that could do top 5, and I feel like that's the only one. But again, it really depends on staging. So if Quiero El Duelo comes out with that banging moment, that could be it. Like, I think it's very hard to say, because a lot of these just need to be seen live on that stage.
Before I answer my own question, I just want to make I made a mistake. Aroney was in 2018 Operation Triunfo. I completely erased 2017 Spain from my head. So, but that's fair, because no one likes Spain 2017, I think. Okay.
No, but I think he was the one that was Operation 2017 going into 2018.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
That-
That's fair. it's just musical, but I was thinking of 2017, like 2017. But I think I have to agree with Isabel. If they want to do well flamenco, not the song flamenco, but flamenco like, as a music style is the way. I think has a potential to top 5. If the staging is like one of the most amazing stagings, I think my family could also do it. But I'm scared for the live performance because don't have no idea how it's going to do that live. There is one thing that I can say that Europe loves the rock most of the time. So I'm saying Mayara has a high chance to do well. Like Erhone, I think also can do well. But I'm thinking, okay, so how can Europe react to that? Why they react, like, what would the comparison to Israel last year? Like, we don't know. But like most of them, it just depends on the stagings because we don't know. We don't know anything about the stagings. I think we don't know anything about stagings. I will also say Nachontara could also do well because it's a song that you can remember. Like there is a history of songs that you could like they have like a very a beat that and choruses that's like very catchy and people tend to vote for it. But yeah, I think that's what I think mostly about the potential winners. I don't know if there is any dark horse could happen. I'm looking at like the pop girlies that like Sophia Martin, maybe something she will do something great on stage that could also do well. I have no idea like Reaper uses so much autotune in her song. I'm like guessing, okay, so how are you going to do this live? Like we don't have a clear visual what will be the staging. But I would agree, Isabel, if they want to do well, I think maybe doing something else than last year. I think is one of the choices. In my opinion, Frozenauta also is a great choice. I know if Sutherland will be a great choice, like song-wise, maybe mid of the scoreboard, but I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say. So and just to end our discussion, like lightning round, who do you think will qualify from its semi?
We've already said that so much of this is going to come down to performance on the night. I think that, and you hinted at this earlier, semi-final 2 is so competitive. That's so hard to call because it's so competitive. It really could be anyone's game. Blanca Paloma is a shoo-in. Like if she doesn't qualify, then it's upside down world. I mean, she had no problem qualifying last year, right? So then this is a stronger entry, I think, even than Secreto de Agua was. So this will qualify. We haven't mentioned Alfred Garcia, which I'm very happy about because I absolutely cannot stand like his Eurovision entry is like one of my least favorite Spain entries ever. I hate it, and I can't stand this song either. But he has a fan base, and Spain does love a sad lad. He is a sad lad, and so I expect him to qualify. I'd be pretty surprised if he didn't, even though I'd rather see literally anybody else from that selection qualify than him. Sorry to that man. Hopefully Sutherland, right? Like I'm hoping that the fact that their energy is a bit different, their sound is a bit different, the genre is a bit different, that they've got enough things that make them stand out from the pack. Whereas there are quite a few uplifting dancey numbers in semi-final 2, so it's and those are the hardest to predict how they'll go because those are the ones that are weak vocal. They could have a weak vocal because if something, you're not going to field like a sentimental ballad if you're not a strong vocalist, but you can hide behind a good beat, and you can hide behind a lot if you're not a particularly strong live vocalist and you're singing something a bit dancey. So it'll be interesting to see out of those which ones distinguish themselves. There's a lot of really fun stuff in there. I want Carmento to qualify because I think that she's fantastic, Quiero e Duero, but I wouldn't be surprised if she slipped under the radar in semi-final 2. Like I said, that it's just a very competitive semi-final. And semi-final one is hard to call. Actually, I think Mi Familia is the shoe in there. I would be really surprised if Mi Familia didn't qualify. I think it does stand out. Musically, I do really like it. I just lyrically think it's a mess. I know that what she was going for was sort of like a patchwork type impressionistic thing lyrically. I think that it doesn't work, but that's personal, subjective. I just doesn't work for me. I find it, again, like just hard to call beyond that. They're very different genres as well. Like, will the fact that, you know, Arcadia is the only rock number, will that stand them in good stead? Like, I know that rock does really well with televotes usually, but we've got a heavily weighted jury vote here, and I don't see Arcadia qualifying, really thinking about it, because juries tend to just really dismiss rock. And then beyond that, it's just like a lot of the stuff there is a little bit weak. You know, given the field, I think it would take a poor vocal performance from Agoné for him not to qualify. So I do expect to see Agoné qualify. Oh, I'd love it if Agoné won that semi-final rather. I think that'd be great. That'd be great. If he's a great live vocalist, then I think that could really be a moment. I will say about your favorite Janek, the thing that bothers me about Noche Entera is the fact that it's about the 80s. It's all about the 80s, and it's musically they could have gone so hard into the 80s, like nostalgic synthy kind of synth pop, and like it's quite tame, you know. It's not quite as like, it's not flamenco, which is singing about flamenco, but like with the most plodding non-flamenco musical backdrop you can imagine. It's not that bad, but like Noche Entera, Victor could have really leaned into the ochentera of it all, and I would have loved it, actually, like that trashy 80s moment. Oh, that's my speed. But yeah, so I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what actually grabs, let's face it, the juries more than anything out of this lot. Don't be surprised if all the sad lads, I mean, actually there were not that many sad lads this year, thank goodness, but don't be surprised if like the two sad lads qualify, you know, even though they're none of our favorites.
I do think these are two very difficult ones to predict. We don't know the running order at the time of recording, and I think that's going to influence it massively. And I also think they're two very different. They're difficult to gauge for different reasons. I think the tone of semi-final one makes it hard. That makes things, there's a lot of more borderline than say semi-final two. Semi-final two is just, there's so many heavy hitters. But for semi-final one, I put as non-qualifiers Flamenco by Rita Ren, Aire by Sharone, Tuki by Sofia Martin, and Sayonara by Twin Melody. Now, I've put Sharone because, well, the song, but then I do understand that, of course, drag queens do have quite a large fan base, so I feel that I don't know what level of a fan base could elevate that, but I feel like jury vote's just not going to like it. We obviously can't speak for the demoscopic vote because it's just the way it's done. It's going to be so different. Flamenco also, I think I said it before, I feel like it could have that moment, but it really depends on the staging. The ones I put for definite qualifiers are Quiero Arder by Agony and Yo Quisiera by Alice Wonderland. I mean, we've discussed it, like why. Well, I've discussed it by Yo Quisiera. And for the borderlines, I've got Mi Familia by Fusa Nocturnal, Arcadia by Mejara, and No Nos Moverán by Meler. Great vocalists. I could see them not qualifying because of they're good songs, but they're not the best. Well, apart from Mi Familia, they're not the best songs. So I feel like there's something that juries could really rank down and put others ahead of it. And I feel like we know what's the Benidorm Fest juries can really knock things down as with last year. So I feel like that it does have the potential to put them as borderlines. For semi-final two, before I go into this, Chanel, although she's born in Cuba, Catalan adopted, Nicky Nunez, Catalan, Alfred Garcia, Catalan, and Manel Evero. Spaniards like Catalan artists, so Siderland, they are just straight up, they're qualifying, and they better win. But yeah, for the automatic like definite ones, Keith Tot, Nochitera, because I feel like that's just going to be the I'm a man moment when she reveals the breast, but not obviously like that mood, but not obviously that tone. But I think just with the nods and slurs and just like it's going to be one of those fun bangers. And I also have Alfred Garcia's because they did Desde que tú estás, because he just has that fan base. He's again, but I feel like the juries might necessarily rank him down. For my definite notes, it's Tracion by Ricky Rapper, Ufe by AFM, La Lola by Famous, Invernos El Marte by Jose Otero, but I feel like that's something that could potentially, if it's staged well, could really go into the borderlines. And then my borderlines have got Quiero Duelo by Carmento and Aea by Blanca Paloma. I feel like these are ones where they're not as universally liked, so they may not necessarily get enough of the televote, but at least that's how I feel. But then again, I can't predict anything. So
We have some very interesting opinions within the three of us. So when I was like writing down who I think will be qualifying, I looked at fan bases. So I looked like on 3 people because they are past the Operación Triunfo participants. They are popular in Spain, so like Agone, Alfred, and Famous. Especially the 3 of them. Like last year we had Marta. She also was from Operación, but she didn't go as far as like Agone finished top 5. Alfred, I mean, not top 5, like 6, top 5, top 6. Alfred to finish like top 3, top 5. Famous won Operación Triunfo, so I'm like thinking like, okay, this fan base could boost him up, but that's starting from semi 1. I think Aone is a clear qualifier. She has a fan base and has support from Spanish people because they like the song. I think for the Nocta I still think it's a sure qualifier, but it could also drop when the staging is rushed and just everything falls. I think Arcadia is also a sure qualifier, but as I said, as Isabel said, I'm starting to fear for the juries, but I know. As the 4th place, I have a battle between Alice and Sofia because I feel like we underrate Tuki, and I think like this could be a dark horse in this semi. For semi 2, Alfred, I think he's qualifying. I think mostly because of the juries. I know if the fan base can, looking at 25% televotes, I think juries would just push him. I agree with you, and will be pushed by juries mostly, but I think she when she was announced to be in the Benidorm, it just showed how much of a fan base she has. So I think she is a sure qualifier. Like maybe even she could even be like a winner of the semi-final. I think Vixen is the sure qualifier. That's because mostly because of the views of the video. She has one of the most views from us, like almost 250K. Almost the same as Semi Familia, which is one of the contenders to win, according to the Spanish people. And the 4th place is a battle. I am not as comfortable as Euan with Switzerland because juries don't like minority languages, especially Spanish juries don't like minority language. Like they put Terra last year, so I don't trust them. So that's why I am not certain that they qualify. Maybe the demoscopic and the televote push them, but I am scared for the juries for them.
Can I just interject though? Although, like, I do think Terra not winning is the greatest travesty in the history of Eurovision ever. Not that I'm prone to hyperbole. I do also think like Terra was a folktronica song, which isn't as oh god, I forgot the word. It isn't accessible as something.
Not as jury friendly, is it?
Yeah. So although they don't like the minority languages, the juries, I feel like it's not going to be as big a hit as say that Tangiers were last year.
Understandable. Just like I just
keep faith. They're going to win.
Other people I think like have a chance to qualify. Like if Traction is perfect on stage, easy qualifier. La Lola also talked about the fan base. We wanted to talk about FM that much, but I think Uf also can have a moment. The one song I know Isabel mentioned the Sad Lads, but Jose Otero, I am sensing a dark horse from him.
He'll qualify. Listen, do you
I
remember
think-
last year, the sad lad last year?
Yeah.
He couldn't even make it to the fucking live shows. He had to video in because he
Mhm.
had a positive COVID test.
The demoscopic jury
But,
stopped
and he made it to the final.
Yeah. That's
They
why I'm
qualified
thinking,
him based on a fucking video. They love their sad lads. Watch, they'll qualify both Alfred and Jose. I hate to see it, but
Sorry, which one from last year are you calling the sad lad?
oh, I can't remember his name. He was a very nice man, and I just can't remember his name. I'm so sorry. He had a really cool accent as well. I can't remember. What was his name?
What was the song like?
Black
Gonzalo?
polo neck lad.
Gonzalo Hermida.
I'm so sorry to the viewership who were like probably yelling at us through their screens.
Yeah, Gonzalo
Ow.
Hermida. That's his name.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I was just wondering which. I didn't consider him like a pure sad lad, so that's why I was like, who's the sad lad?
He was in a black polo neck. He was a sad
I
lad.
mean,
I'm in a black polo neck. Was I the sad lad all along?
Yeah, I think Euan and Marta has a chance to qualify, mostly because of the demoscopic. Maybe juries could have him up. I think he has a following. I saw people liking the song, so we'll see. Maybe everything we said today will be not compatible with what we're saying in the competition. Like, but watch out for the update after Benidorm for sure, because we will be I know we will be discussing, but as a side we'll be discussing the results. So that's it for us today. Thank you so much for listening and watching our video. And I want to thank Isabelle and Euan for joining me as always, because we record a lot together. So as always, I'm really happy to to record with them. So don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can hit the bell also for our newest videos. Look out on the latest Eurovision and Eurovision related competitions or stuff news. Go to thateurovisionsite.com and follow us on the social medias at that Eurosite on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And also this channel is a home for That Eurovision podcast. You can find us at That Euro Podcast on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Of course, That Eurovision podcast is on Spotify, Apple Music, and also on YouTube, but we put stuff on YouTube with a delay, I think a week delay. So if you want to listen to our podcast when they drop, mostly Saturdays, 12 GMT. So yeah, Spotify, Apple Music, and that's everything from us. Thank you so much for listening, and see you soon. Bye bye.
Muchas gracias. Hasta luego.